Well, the thing is, see what happened was, in retrospect, pull up a seat, you already know who it is. Hey, hit play, lean back, rewind, then react. From the wild to the tame, every story fair game, we land, we learn. Hot takes, hard turns, little truth, little T, and you're right here with me. Well, the thing is, see what happened was in retrospect. Break away, take a break, yeah, we talk about it all. From the big moves that you make to the times you hit the wall. No topic, off limits, say how it really is. Break away, take a break, welcome to the show, let's live. Let's live. Well, the thing is, see what happened was in retrospect. Click, you're in, out loud, no pretend. Hold up, what moments say the again. Same crew, same tribe, it's a scribe. Don't be late, we just press play on fate, Break away, take a break, yeah, we talk about it all. From the big moves that you make to the times you hit the wall. No topic, off limits, say how it really is. Break away, take a break, welcome to the show, let's live. Let's live. Let's live. Let's live. But the thing is, see what happened was in retrospect. Well, the thing is, see what happened was in retrospect. Pull up a seat, you already know who it is. Grab your seats, popcorn, drinks, let's get ready, let's go! Go! Stop your feet, let's go! Go!
What is going on, everybody?
See what had happened was in retrospect. How y'all doing tonight?
Papa Smurf, how you doing? And people watching in the background, how you doing? Welcome in. Elijah, how you doing? So, tonight's live is communication is important. So we're going to talk about effective communication. So we have couple of articles we're going to go over. Improving your interpersonal skills. So what better? Communication skills. So you want better communication skills? These tips will help you avoid misunderstanding, grasp the real meaning of what's being communicated, and greatly improve your work and personal relationships. So, before we get started, I want to say hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. And put a 1 in chat if you're having a good day. And put a 2 in chat if you're struggling with something and you want to talk about it. And we will, before we get the live going. Because we're here for support.
Hey, Somber Warrior. Hey, Pop Smurf. Hey, Rosaline. Hey, Baby Shark. Hey, Elijah. How y'all doing? Tonight? Or today, afternoon time, wherever you at in the world.
What's going on, Papa Smurf? And how you doing, Rosaline? What's going on, Papa Smurf? What you going through, bro?
What up, Miss Pat Pfeiffer? How's everything going with you, beautiful?
Papa Smurf said he's having a rough day. Charbetty, how you doing?
Oh, many prayers, Papa Smurf. Everybody out there, please say a prayer for Papa Smurf's aunt. Right now, she has got the big C. We all know we hate the big C. Cancer sucks. Hashtag cancer sucks. So say a prayer for her and the family. And if it is, he said she's passing, that it is not a painful passing and that she gets some kind of peace and gets to be around her family, you know? Pray for strength for the family also. Much love, Papa Smurf. So sorry. Stage 4.
And if you don't pray, just send some positive energy.
Yeah, if you don't pray, send positive energy. If maybe light some Palo Santos. If you believe, whatever you believe in, send some positivity his way.
So we'll get this started. So what is effective communication? Effective communication is about more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding the emotions and intentions behind the information. As well as being able to clearly convey a message, you need to always listen in a way that gains the full meaning of what's being said and makes the other person feel heard and understood. Effective communication sounds like it should be instinctive, but all too often, when we try to communicate with others, something goes astray. Ain't that a fact? We say one thing and the other person hears something else. And misunderstandings, frustration, and conflicts ensue. This can cause problems in your home, school, and work relationships. But by learning effective communication skills, you can deepen your connection with others, build greater trust and respect, and improve teamwork, problem solving, and your overall social and emotional health. So in this article, you will learn tips for improving your communication skills. Whether you're trying to improve communications with your romantic partner, kids, boss, or coworkers, learning the following communication skills can help strengthen your interpersonal relationships. And it's not just coworkers, boss, and kids, it's friends. Understanding what's stopping you from communicating well. Common barriers to effective communication include stress and out of control emotions. When you're stressed or emotionally overwhelmed, you're more likely to misread other people, send confusing or off-putting nonverbal signals. That's body movement. And lapse into unhealthy knee-jerk pattern of behavior. To avoid conflict and misunderstandings, you can learn how to quickly calm down before continuing a conversation. Lack of focus. You can't communicate effectively when you're multitasking. If you're checking your phone, planning what you're going to say next, or daydreaming, you're almost certain to miss nonverbal cues in the conversation. To communicate effectively, you need to avoid distraction and stay focused. That's why they say eye-to-eye contact. It's very important when you communicate. Inconsistent body language. Nonverbal communication should reinforce what's being said, not contradict it. You may say one thing, but your body language says something else. Your listener will likely feel that you're being dishonest. For example, you can't say yes while shaking your head no. Negative body language. If you disagree with or dislike what's being said, you might use negative body language to rebuff the other person's message, such as crossing your arms, avoiding eye contact, or tapping your feet. You don't have to agree with or even like what's being said, but to communicate effectively and not put the other person on the defense, it's important to avoid sending negative signals. Tip 2, become an active listener, which I struggle with. And I'm going to be honest. I struggle with being an active listener. You want to read that?
Oh, I got you. When communicating with others, we often focus on what we should say. However, effective communication is less about talking and more about listening. Listening well means not just understanding the words or the information being communicated, but also understanding the emotions the speaker is trying to convey. There's a big difference between active listening and simply hearing. When you really listen, when you're engaged with what's being said, you'll hear the subtle annotations in someone's voice that tell you how that person is feeling and the emotions they're trying to communicate. When you're an engaged listener, not only will you better understand the other person, you'll also make the person feel heard and understood, which can help build a stronger and deeper connection between you. By communicating in this way, you'll also experience a process that lowers stress and supports physical and emotional well being. If the person you're talking to is calm, for example, listening in an engaged way will help to calm you too. Similarly, if the person is agitated, you can help calm them by listening in an attentive way and making the person feel understood. If your goal is to fully understand and connect with the other person, listening is an engaged way will often come naturally. If it doesn't, try to follow tips. The more you practice them, the more satisfying and rewarding your interactions with others will become. Tips for becoming an active listener. Focus fully on the speaker. You can't listen in an engaged way if you're constantly checking your phone or thinking about something else. You need to stay focused on the moment to moment experience in order to pick up the subtle nuances and important nonverbal cues in a conversation. If you find it hard to concentrate on some speakers, try repeating their words over in your head. It'll reinforce their message and help you stay focused. Favor your right ear. As strange as it sounds, the left side of your brain contains the primary processing centers for both speech and comprehension and emotions. Since the left side of the brain is connected to the right side of the body, favoring your right ear can help you better detect the emotional nuances of what someone is saying. Avoid interrupting or trying to redirect the conversation to your concerns by saying something like, "If you think that's bad, let me tell you what happened to me." Listening is not the same as waiting for your turn to talk. You can't concentrate on what someone's saying if you're forming what you're going to say next. Often, the speaker can read your facial expression and know that your mind is elsewhere. Show your interest in what is being said. Nod occasionally, smile at the person. Make sure your posture is open and inviting. Encourage the speaker to continue with small verbal comments like yes or uh-huh. Try to set aside judgment. In order to communicate effectively with someone, you don't have to like them or agree with their ideas, values, or opinions. However, you do need to set aside your judgment and withhold blame and criticism in order to fully understand them. The most difficult communication, when successfully executed, can often lead to an unlikely connection with someone. Provide feedback. If there seems to be a disconnect, reflect what has been said by paraphrasing. "So what I'm hearing is," or "sounds like you are saying," are great ways to reflect back. Don't simply repeat what the speaker has said verbatim, though. You'll sound insincere or unintelligent. Instead, express what the speaker's words mean to you. Ask questions to clarify certain points. "What do you mean when you say," or "is this what you mean?" Hear the emotion behind the words. It's higher frequency of human speech that impart emotion. You can become more attuned to these frequencies and thus better able to understand what others are really saying. By exercising the tiny muscle of your middle ear, the smallest in the body. You can do this by singing, playing a wind instrument, or listening to certain types of high frequency music, a Mozart symphony or a violin concerto, for example, rather than low frequency rock, pop, or hip hop. Tip 3, pay attention to nonverbal signals. The way you look, listen, move, react to another person tells them more about how you feel than the words alone ever can be. Nonverbal communication or body language includes facial expression, body movement and gestures, eye contact, posture, the tone of your voice. even your muscle tension and breathing. Developing the ability to understand and use nonverbal communication can help you connect with others, express what you really mean, negate challenging situations, and build better relationships at home and work. You can enhance effective communication by using open body language, arms uncrossed, standing with an open stance, or sitting on the edge of your seat and maintain eye contact with the person you're talking to. You can also use body language to emphasize or enhance your verbal message, patting a friend on the back while complimenting him or her on or them on their success. For example, or pounding your fist to underline your message. Improve how you read nonverbal communication. Be aware of individual differences. People from different countries and cultures tend to use different nonverbal communication gestures, so it's important to take age, culture, religion, gender, and emotional state into accountability when reading body signal language skills. An American teen, a grieving widow, and an Asian businessman, for example, are likely to use nonverbal signals differently. Look at nonverbal communication signals as a group. Don't read too much into a single gesture or nonverbal cue. Consider all the nonverbal signs you receive, from eye contact to tone of voice to body language. Anyone can slip up occasionally, let eye contact go. For example, a brief cross of the arms without meaning to. Consider the signals as a whole to get a better read on a person. Improve how you deliver nonverbal communication. Use nonverbal signals that match up with your words, rather than contradict them. If you say one thing, but your body language says something else, your listener will feel confused or suspect that you're being dishonest. For example, sitting with your arms crossed or shaking your head doesn't match words telling the other person that you agree with what they're saying. Adjust your nonverbal signals according to context. The tone of your voice, for example, should be different from when you're addressing a child than when you're addressing a group of adults. Similarly, take into account the emotional state and cultural background of the person you're interacting with. Avoid negative body language. Instead of use body language to convey positive feelings, even when you're not actually experiencing them. If you're nervous about a situation, a job interview, important presentation, or first date, for example, you can use positive body language to signal confidence, even though you're not feeling it. Instead of tentatively entering a room with your head down, eyes averted, sliding into a chair, try standing tall with your shoulders back, smiling, and maintaining eye contact, and delivering a firm handshake. It will make you feel more self-confident and help to put the other person at ease. Tip 4. Keep stress in check. How many times have you felt stressed during a disagreement with your spouse, kids, boss, friends, or coworkers, and then said or done something you later regretted? If you can quickly relieve stress and return to a calm state, you'll not only avoid such regrets, but in many cases, you'll also help to calm the other person as well. It's only when you're in calm, relaxed state that you'll be able to know whether the situation requires a response or whether the other person's signals indicate it would be better to remain silent. In situations such as a job interview, business presentation, high-pressure meeting, or introducing to a loved one's family, for example, it's important to manage your emotions, think on your feet, and effectively communicate under pressure. Therapy can help you to keep your stress in check. Consider online therapy platforms if you prefer in home therapy or a regular therapist. Communicate effectively by staying calm under pressure. Using stalling tactics, give yourself time to think. Ask for a question to be repeated or for a clarification of a statement before you respond. Pause to collect your thoughts. Silent isn't necessarily a bad thing. Pausing can make you seem more in control than rushing your response. Make one point and provide an example or a supporting piece of information. If your response is too long or you're waffle about a number of points, you risk losing the listener's interest. Follow one point with an example, then gauge the listener's reaction. Tell if you should make a second point. Deliver your words clearly. In many cases, how you say something can be as important as what you say. Speak clearly. Maintain an even tone. Make eye contact. Keep your body language relaxed and open. Wrap up with a summary and then stop. Summarize your response and then stop talking. Even if it leaves a silence in the room, you don't have to fill the silence by continuing to talk. Quick stress relief for effective communication. When a conversation starts to get heated, you need something quick and immediate to bring down the emotional intensity. By learning to quickly reduce stress in the moment, you can safely take stock of any strong emotion you're experiencing, regulate your feelings, and behave appropriately. Recognize when you're becoming stressed. Your body will let you know. If you're stressed as you communicate, are your muscles or your stomach tight? Are your hands clenched? Is your breath shallow? Are you forgetting to breathe? Take a moment to calm down before deciding to continue a conversation or postpone it. Bring your stress to the rescue. The best way to rapidly and reliably relieve stress is through the sense, sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, or movement. For example, you can pop a peppermint in your mouth, squeeze a stress ball in your pocket, take a few deep breaths, clench and relax your muscles, or simply recall a soothing, sensory-rich image. Each person responds differently to sensory input, so you need to find a coping mechanism that is soothing to you.
So, there's a few people in chat that are posting comments. Rosaline said, be kind with yourself. Remember that none of us are perfect. She also said, I'm trying to catch up on comments. The study of body language can be helpful as well. I've also found that folks that interject with their own story are not necessarily rude or not listening, but may be neurospicy and are trying to relate in their own way.
I find that very true. 'Cause a lot of times, me myself as a neurospicy person, I might tell a story that goes along with your story to get to a point, right? And to show that I do understand. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not to the exactly, but I understand a little bit because hey, you've been through this, I've been through this. We've both been through something, right?
Yep.
Um,
Now, it also says, look for humor in the situation. When used appropriately, humor is a great way to relieve stress when communicating. When you or those around you start taking things too seriously, find a way to lighten the mood by sharing a joke or amusing story. Now, Samba Warrior did make a statement. He said, texting. You can't really sense somebody's emotions through texting, but you can by talking to them on the phone, which I find it truthful because you don't know what somebody's going through via text, but you do when you hear their voice, in my opinion. Be willing to compromise. Sometimes if you can both bend a little, you'll be able to find a happy middle ground to reduce the stress levels for everyone concerned. If you realize that the other person cares so much about an issue than you do, compromise may be easier for you and good investment for the future of the relationship. Agree to disagree if necessary and take time away from the situation so everyone can calm down. For a stroll outside if possible, or spend a few minutes meditating. Physical movement or finding a quiet place to regain your balance can quickly reduce stress. Assert yourself. Direct, assertive expressions makes for clear communication and can help boost your self-esteem and decision-making skills. Be assertive means expressing your thoughts, feelings, and needs in an open and honest way while standing up for yourself and respecting others. It does not mean being hostile, aggressive, or demanding. Effective communication is always about understanding the other person, not about winning an argument or forcing your opinion on others. To improve your assertiveness, value yourself and your opinion, your options. There are important they are as important as anyone else's. Know your needs and wants. Learn to express them without infringing on the rights of others. Express your negative thoughts in a positive way. It's okay to be angry, but you must remain respectful as well. Receiving feedback positively, accepting compliments graciously, and learn from your mistakes and ask for help when needed. Learn to say no, know your limits, and don't let others take advantage of you. Look for alternatives so everyone else feels good about the outcome. Developing assertive communication techniques. Empathic, empathetic assertion conveys sensitivity to the other person. First, recognize the other person's situation or feelings. Then state your needs or opinion. I know you've been very busy at work, but I want you to make time for yourself as well. Escalating assertion can be employed by when your first attempt are not successful, you become increasingly firm as time progresses, which may include outlining consequences if your needs are not met. For example, if you do not abide by the contract, I'll be forced to pursue legal action. Practice assertiveness in low-risk situations to help build up your confidence, or ask friends or family if you can practice assertiveness techniques on them first. So that was a lot. That's a lot of info about communication skills. You know, I took, believe it or not, one of my favorite subjects when I was in university was oral communications. And this was a lot more detailed than the professor was. So
I'm going to say that, yeah, I don't think a lot of people also understand that. Here's the thing. I've always said this, I say this. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it to someone, right? You can make someone more aggressive if you say it a specific way, but you could say that same sentence in a different way to make it less aggressive, right? And less, sort of go clean your room. Say, hey, your room is dirty. You're not going to be able to find anything in it. If you go clean your room, you're going to be able to have a nice space to be in, right? Instead of the two. Now, sometimes as a parent, we have to be assertive, as it was saying in the communication, right? So that is sometimes go clean your room or you're going to have consequences. So that's being assertive. That's being firm with your communication. If two people are having an argument, right, and they're not wanting to see each other's side, or, not wanting to communicate, butting heads, the best thing that you can do is, for one, try to get them both to step back, take a breath, and things like that. Sometimes it does not work, right? Sometimes it does not. But being actively opening to hearing another person's point of view, right? And what they're saying to you. Like, listen, even if you may not agree, right? At the end of the day, give them their moment to speak. Let them say what they're going to say. And then you can say, no, this is why I don't agree, or this is why I do agree, or I kind of see that, and you can form your opinion without it coming off as, no, I'm not going to listen to you ever, 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 no matter what you say. You know what I'm saying? Because that makes the person feel unheard, disrespected, and everything else. Versus if you come at them with, well, this is why I don't agree. You know what I'm saying? And we can agree to disagree. Then the person's going to be more willing to agree to disagree with you. If that makes sense.
It does. One thing I've learned is my mom used to say, put your mind in gear before you put your mouth in motion. Think of what you're going to say before you say it. Even if you got to replay it. If I say it this way, what is the outcome going to be? If I say it this way, even if you got to pause to respond, pausing to respond is very important than responding right away, unless you already know what you're going to say. So I dropped the link if anybody wants to come up.
I agree with Miss Rosaline. Communicating effectively is a learned trait. It does not come easily to everyone. Sometimes we need to recognize when it is better to take a step back and approach the conversation at a later time. That is another thing, Miss Rosaline, that I will say, Miss Rosaline, that when you're upset or you're angry, take a moment to step back and calm and be cool, collective, and, regain yourself, because when you're angry, you're going to say things that you may not necessarily mean sometimes, especially if it's with someone you love, right? And you would hate to say something you can't take back. And, when we talk about communicating in relationships, and, that's another topic, Mr. Eddie, that goes along with communicating, is knowing how to argue correctly. Because we're all going to argue, right? Whether we're in friendships, whether, having an argument is not a terrible thing. It's depending on what you do in that argument, how you speak to the other person, right? Because we're going to agree to disagree on some topics. And that would be considered an argument, correct? If you say you like chocolate ice cream, but I say I like vanilla, and I don't understand why you like chocolate, but you don't understand why I like vanilla, and we're having a back and forth conversation about it, that is technically considered an argument. But it also depends on how we speak about it. And if we hit low blows with each other, if we go over the edge, arguing effectively.
Got Big Papa in the background, wants to come up on stage. Papa Smurf.
Let's bring out, I love it when you call me Big Papa. Hey,
What's
Big
up,
Papa.
As long as it's not poker. In poker, I'm taking your chips.
So what's going on? What is your
No.
input on communication?
I believe, everybody has the right to their opinion. Without an opinion, there's nothing. And yeah, sometimes everybody's communication and input might be different, and their thoughts may be different, but you at least listen to them, see what their point of view might be. Maybe their point of view could be different than your point of view.
Exactly. And that's the one we were talking about, effective communication, right? You're sitting back, you're listening to their point, and you're actually paying attention. Then you can form your processes of either why you agree, why you disagree, or maybe possibly you could see their point of view, even if it doesn't change your point of view, right? Sometimes two things can be true at the same time. We all have opinions. We all have, all of our opinions are not going to be the same, and that's okay. Being able to, do it effectively without, without it getting so heated that you say or do things that you ought not to.
Right. Like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. My mom wakes up yelling at my son instead of talking to him. If she talked to him, I think she'd get farther along than yelling at him. And she has no patience for him. He has cerebral palsy. And he does dumb things. Yeah, I understand. But you got to work with him and tell him, okay, this is what you did. This is what you could have done different.
I don't know
Instead
if
of
you know
yelling
this.
at him, instead of yelling at him and belittling him, telling him you're an idiot, you're a dumbass, and all this for things that he did wrong.
I will tell you this. My son also has mild CP. His is mostly physical, though. He has it in his legs, and he's had surgery. His is a very mild case. But I will say this. No one should be called an idiot or those things. And it's because she's frustrated, right? And instead of communicating effectively, she's communicating out of frustration, which is why those things come out. And effective communication in this fact would be, hey, this is what you did wrong, and this is how we change it. And in order for someone to learn how to change something, you have to teach them.
I mean, he's to the point where he don't listen and he don't pay attention. He does dumb things without thinking about what he's doing. I understand that. But if she yells at him and hits him and calls him a dumbass for not moving the electric skillet off the floor. Well, why'd you put that there? You put it there, and you expect him to take care of it. You know?
We got Rosaline coming up on stage. You keeping the camera on, young lady? Okay.
Hey, Rosaline, beautiful.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
How's
Rosaline.
everybody doing?
Oh, your audio is amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look how close. It's like closer than arm's length.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Okay. That's why I come on my desktop. I mean, use my desktop. What you're talking about today, effective communication, is one of my pet projects. And having a special needs son has been one of my pet projects because I want to make sure that when I communicate with him and all the caregivers and staff that he has, I want to make sure there is no misunderstanding, that I am clear in my communication, that I am not judgmental in the way I communicate, and that I can phrase things in such a way that it might be better received instead of, like Charlie said earlier, just go clean up your room. Instead of, hey, let's try and arrange things in here. This is not how, you know better than this. And as far as Big Papa sharing about his son and his mom and the way communication happens there, my cat just jumped up, sorry. I would encourage you to just do the best you can, because sometimes we old folk, you can't change us. And sometimes staring at your grandchild that's different is a direct slap in the face to what you wanted for your child. And
Well,
some
if I
people
can,
don't know how to deal.
guarding.
Let me finish my thought. Some people
Okay,
just don't know how to deal with that. And see what I just did there? Let me finish my thought. I wasn't
Yeah.
being rude, but that's one way to be effectively communicative. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Big Papa.
I'm trying to get guardianship back from him when I get my Social Security check starting next month. And if I can't, I'm going to try to get him into a adult foster care home to where he'll be better off, away from all the negativity.
And I wish you great luck in that. I know that the facility under which my son is cared for is God, they're phenomenal. And I would just encourage you to do your research on what kind of
Right.
assisted living he needs, because I'm not sure what state you're in, and I don't know the laws for all the other states. I've done my research on the state in which I live because, in the state in which my son lives, because I wanted the best for him. And that's all we as parents really want. So I would just encourage you, start researching now. You've got a computer, you've got internet. Start looking now for what's available in the area you want him to live.
Right. Well, I kind of wanted to keep him in the same county or in the roundabout area because they need to still be able to go to school with the kids that he goes to school with, because he really likes the school that he's in.
I understand that so much. I moved from the East Coast to the middle of the frickin' United States so my son could have the best opportunities. So I fully understand that. I moved an hour away from where he lives, and that's as far as I'll move.
Yeah.
Because I know that if he has to go in the hospital, it takes me 40 minutes tops to get there.
Right.
So I understand what you're
85.
saying. Yep. I
That's
totally
doing
understand.
85, 90. They're doing 85, 90 miles an hour to get there.
Yeah, I don't tell my stories.
And she said, "Don't snitch on her." But yeah, as a parent of special needs, we also have to learn to communicate a little differently
Yes.
than the neurotypical people. We have to even with, like, let's say if we relate it to mental health, right? Communicating with someone who's schizophrenic or someone who has bipolar, and sometimes those different disorders and things, you have to learn how to communicate with that person on their level and what they're going through at that moment. And I've always said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So when you start, it takes time to learn some of these things, right? And sometimes they're life experiences. With me, a lot of my being able to communicate so effectively came from being around someone who had schizophrenic moments and being able to talk them through them and to be able to say it in a different way, to where it didn't sound argumentative, where it didn't sound, like I was accusing them of being crazy or accusing them of something, or making them feel bad about their disorder. It was, I had to say it in a roundabout way. So instead of saying, no, you're crazy, you're this, you're that, no, I come at it with, hey, this is what you're seeing, right? Well, how about this is a thing for people who are schizophrenic? Take a picture. What do you see in the picture? You know what I'm saying? That helps them have proof.
Exactly. And let me interrupt here for a second. I'm sorry, Charlie. What you've just told us is a wonderful way that you accommodated somebody's neurospiciness, right? And the thing is, if we have the wherewithal to stop, take a step back, don't take it personal, and go, okay, what is it that we are trying to communicate here? And what is another way? Is there another way I can tell you to go to hell where you want to ask me directions? So you get creative in that, right?
You can take a left turn, a right turn, down this one street over here, and you'll be right at hell. So have a good one. I'll see you there.
I'm telling you, it's just that easy. I know I'm trying to look at the chat. I put the chat over there. So
Hey, Edward Linda.
I beg your pardon?
Edward Linda.
No, don't. Hey, Big Papa.
Yeah.
You're pronouncing my name wrong. Don't do
Edward
that.
Lind, okay. Edward Lind.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I put an A on it. I'm
not a female, okay?
Not by any stretch of the imagination.
I have Facebook connected to StreamYard.
Oh, I got you. Edward Lind, I'm sorry.
Yes, and you're not doxing me, just so you know.
Of course not.
Okay?
Okay.
Because I'm public.
Oh, okay.
Da-da-da. That's a big step. I'm glad you're doing that.
Yes, it is. I'm usually a private person in some cases. And I said, I got like 2,400 supporters on Facebook. Expand.
And they probably didn't even know you had a YouTube channel.
Yesterday I had a friend, Eduardo, watching the channel, and he was grateful for the live I did yesterday.
It was good.
Yeah.
You guys did a good job.
So I almost had to end. I almost had to drop off and let Charlie finish it because somebody asked me for a ride. He just got back to me. He's like, I'll let you know when I need to ride.
That's good.
Buddy of mine got a DUI.
It happens.
Yeah.
Happens to the best of us,
Yeah.
Nobody, I'm going to say this, nobody is always perfect, even when it comes to all the things that we speak about, right? Communication, all these things. The more that you try to be more understanding, or the way you say things, or trying to learn to speak in a new way, it may take you time to learn that. It didn't. Okay, just like it takes you time to be traumatized, it takes you time to learn like just regular communication, just being able to speak when you were kids, right? It also takes time to learn effective communication, especially if you were in a toxic relationship or a toxic space to where you didn't use effective communication, right? You used the least effective way to do it. You have to now go back and try to learn it. And we never stop learning, no matter how old we are, no matter how much, you never stop. And that's a good thing. That's just like, I'm going to say this. If you were to tomorrow have a friend who is deaf, then you would try to teach yourself ASL to be able to speak to them, correct?
Did you see what Somber Warrior just wrote?
Yeah, like with deaf people, we learn sign language to communicate. There's always a way. You just need to keep trying. We all need to be heard and understood. That's all somebody else wants, technically, is to be heard, to feel heard. Don't just listen, hear them, or don't just hear them, listen to them. Really pay attention.
I have learned to continue on that. I have learned also to use affirming phrases like, I understand what you're trying to tell me. Let me tell you what I'm receiving out of what you're saying. Because that way we can both be sure that we're on the same page. I have my son is deaf. One of my sons is deaf. And while he has hearing aids, I have taught him to use phrases like, let me make sure I understand what you're trying to tell me. Or would you repeat that a different way? I'm not quite understanding you. And I've found for me, especially when talking to anybody really, if I'm not understanding them, then from that point of understanding forward, I'm kind of lost in the conversation. So I have to go back, and I often say, wait, I'm sorry, let me interrupt you for just a minute, because I got lost back when you said blah, blah, blah. And that creates such a more loving, effective communication bubble that it starts leaking out into the rest of your life, so that I am now better able to when I'm in a conversation, or if I join a conversation, I can say, I'm sorry, what were you talking about? And I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to be on same page as you guys. Maybe not same chapter, but we're on the same page. So that I found that helps me as well. And that's about all I could do. So,
And I think we're all different, right? So what may be helpful to one may not be helpful. But here's the thing with us sharing what helps us, right? Maybe you'll find that thing that helps you. It's just like when we speak of coping mechanism, different things, right? Every person is different, right? So you may be a visual learner. You may need something written on a piece of paper or on a board. You may not like text, like we were talking about earlier in text. Text, you may be saying one thing and people are hearing it in their own way, right? But vice versa, if in case, it's an up to interpretation. We're up here now being able to speak, me and Miss Rosalie, Mr. The thing is, and Mr. Big Papa, right? So we can absolutely hear each other's verbal cues. We can understand our tones of voices, and if it changes, if it gets heated, or things like that. So there's different forms of communication and different ways to interpret them. So do not also, this is my point, when someone interprets it wrong, don't get upset about it. If it's a text form or something, say, no, this is what I really meant. Or even in speaking, sometimes we speak the wrong words, and that's not what we meant.
I like face-to-face communication a lot better than texting, because I can see immediately when the facial expression changes to the receiving the words I just said. So I can say, wait, let me rephrase that, because I can see that hurt you in some way. That hit you a way I didn't mean for it to. Let me rephrase. And I catch myself all the time doing, pardon me, when I do that, because I'm paying attention to who's listening, because I'm paying attention to the person I'm trying to have a conversation with. Sometimes I was recently in a group setting, and we were discussing a book, and I can see by the way so-and-so said their words, how it affected this side, and how this one said words that affected, and I could just see, and I was able to, not the facilitator, but I was able to say, wait a second, let's back up to a minute. I saw you respond to when this one said, and the thing is, if you are, as an individual, if I am able to help with communication, with effective communication in any way, I feel like that's kind of, if I'm able to do it, I should do it. So I don't feel compelled, but if I can see there's a conversation happening where I can help bridge the gap, because I can certainly see there's a definitive cultural difference or communication difference. And sometimes we need others to help bridge that gap for us.
Yep.
So I know that if I can help, my big thing is I help where I can, when I can, how I can, while I can. And sometimes people will put their hand up and say, no, we don't need your help. It's like, okay, I'm going to go over here and have my cup of coffee. See ya. And I walk over there.
Same. I've had to say, oops, I'm sorry, overstep my bounds. And that's also an effective communication skill, though, if you think about it. When you realize you overstepped your bounds. So you say, oh, sorry, I'll I'm okay. Walk away.
Didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was a private conversation, as you were, and walk away. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that I am not welcome in this conversation. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Sometimes it's for the better.
Sometimes it's good to when we talk about the communication, right, and effectively communicating, listen and pay attention. And if you're not welcome, like Ms. Versling said, step back, walk away. And if you can help and they decide that you are going to be helpful and they want to listen, then they do. Also, like, some people are not ready to hear you at that moment. Like, if you're angry or the situation's getting heated, sometimes it's best, yes, or they're angry. It's an angry situation. It's best to take that step back, take time away from each other, whether you have to go into another room or you have to take a step back and calm down, both of you. Think, relax, then come back to that conversation. Sometimes we have to take a pause on that situation. Pause, you know what I'm saying? And come back to that later, because right now we're both too heated. We don't need to speak to each other while we're angry out of emotion, because we don't want to use negative emotions towards each other.
And the thing is,
I learned through anger management. If your situation gets heated up, go for a walk, come back to it later, and then talk about it.
definitely, because a lot of times when we say things in anger, there's no taking those words back because we don't know how badly they cut the one we said them to.
Correct.
Right.
And those scars run deep. And they
Words
stay for a long time.
Mental abuse is worse than physical abuse.
Especially when you're in a relationship with somebody. Because, what's up, Cash? So, especially when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's key to understand that what you say runs deep. And make sure you're sober when you say it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've learned in communication, when you're under the influence, your real feelings come out. I've learned that too.
And sometimes it's not just your real feelings. Sometimes it's all the things you've repressed or buried for so long that come spewing out, that instead of handling it in the moment and
You hold it
saying, you hold it in, and it blows up when you're at your wit's end.
And that's
So-
how that's how you ruin relationships too.
One of the things that has been challenging as far as effective communication for me is realizing that when I say, I need to stop this conversation for right now because this is making me extremely uncomfortable and I need to take a minute. And again, like you guys were all saying, back away, take a walk, whatever you need to do. But getting to the point as an individual to recognize that hairs on the back of my neck are standing up and I need to, before I jump off this porch, I need to go have a cigarette or something, okay? And the thing is, we all recognize when we're past that point and we're ready to take that jump. But I encourage you all to start to recognize when the little hairs on the back of your neck are starting to climb up there and your teeth are starting to clench and your shoulders are starting to climb up there. Just take a deep breath, shake it off, and in your head, try to see what am I responding to? What is making this happen? And stop the conversation and say, listen, I'm having some really bad, I'm having some emotions here that I'm not ready to look at. Can we come back to this, please? Can we just put a pin in it for now? Because I'm afraid I will not respond in the best way for both of us.
I've had to do that, Ms. Versling. The way I've said it is right now, my emotions are high. Give me a moment. I'm going to say something I might regret. So right at this moment, I need a moment to relax, calm down. I go listen to my music. And I said, we can come back to this. And each person also has a different cool down time. Mm-hmm. That's another thing we need to know. Like, you may be able to cool down in 2 minutes, but your partner may take, they could take 6, 7, 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? Some people have different cool down times. Because for me, I'm one of those people, I'm hard to get mad. But once you get me there, it takes me hours to calm down. Versus my partner can get over it really quickly. And in 20 minutes, he's fine. I'm not like that. I need longer.
So Cash said Some abuse need less triggers to trigger. Some do not realize it does.
And sometimes we can speak from trauma. Here's the thing that people don't understand. Let's say you're having a communication with someone and it triggers a PTSD moment if you have traumatic stress, right? Or you've come from an abusive relationship. You can then take out what you previously went through on someone else, and that's not the way they meant it because your trauma is coming up. So also recognizing your own trauma responses to not do that. Like, let's say for somebody else is agitated and they're used to raised voices, but that agitation sets you off because of abuse, right? But they're not meaning it that way. They're just a little agitated at the situation at hand, not at you. But you're taking it as they're agitated at you because that was an abuse trauma with the other person. You get what I'm saying? So you gotta know in effective communication, you gotta know what is your triggers, what are your trauma responses, how to effectively communicate with that person without taking out past experiences on them, right? We have to move forward from them past experiences. And, when we're talking to each individual person, like a conversation me and the thing is might be different than a conversation that me and Miss Rosaline is having, right? Maybe two total different communications, but we're saying the same thing, right? But so you got to meet each person where they come, and how their nuances are, how they speak and what they mean, and learn each individual person. Yeah. Go ahead, Ms. Rosaline.
I want to back up to something you said earlier about recognizing cooling off time or something to that effect. Whereas you can cool off in maybe 5 minutes, somebody else may take 48 hours or whatever. When you go back, when you choose to go back to that conversation, I have found it important for me to say, I need to revisit this. Are you in a place we can talk about it now? Are you willing to discuss ABC with me? Because I really need to hear from you about this. And so that's also the way you approach people, again, is monumental in how the conversation can start and progress. So you guys in chat are really smart. Yep, Somber Warrior says try to clear the air with your partner before going to bed. Go to bed happy, wake up happy. I wake up single. I'm good. I'm really good.
My mother always had a rule: is don't go to bed angry. And there's a reason why.
That's what Somber Warrior just said. Go ahead.
It's basically because you don't want the last thought process. Let's say you go to bed, that person doesn't wake up that next morning. You don't want the last thing to be said to that person or thought process to be a bad thing, right? So talk it out, try to communicate. If in case, let's say you had to take the 48 hours, let them know that you're taking the 48 hours to think about your response because, you know what I'm saying? You needed time to formulate your thoughts. Your processes are not together yet, but you still love them. You see what I'm saying? I love you. This is just a disagreement. I just need time to process it before we talk about it. So that they don't also feel ignored. They don't feel like you're giving them the cold shoulder, because that's another thing, right? That's another, when we talk about abuse and things like that. So silent treatment, as they would say. Don't do that per se.
And these are all wonderfully helpful things that you guys are throwing out there. I really, it makes my heart warm to know that there are others that are definitely working towards more effective communication. I thank you, Eddie, for doing this. This is really good.
Well, it was Charlie's idea.
But she effectively communicated it.
Yes, and we discussed it, and we came to an agreement.
Excellent.
Like tomorrow, we're going to talk about, not tomorrow, but Monday, we're going to talk about technology.
Yeah, it was internet safety.
Yes.
That would be good.
So
that'd be real good. Why is
that's her project.
Yeah, that's a me project.
I'm just going to be, I'm going to be here for the support.
Well, that's good. Well, I will do my best to be around. Sorry, keeping up with YouTubey stuff. I will do my best to be around if you need any help, Charlie. It's still going to be around the same time, correct?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll see
So-
what I can do because camp is calling my name. Gotta
Internet
go.
safety. The reason I want to touch on internet safety is because a lot of people don't know about not putting your full name out there or doing certain things or changing email passwords and things, or clicking on links you don't know, and and things like that, and they end up getting themselves in a getting doxxed or getting things showing up to their home. And there's ways you could try to protect yourself as much as possible. At least do your due diligence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. As a senior, I'm noting more things coming across my email from third parties, fourth parties, whatever, spam mail that comes across appearing more and more like the real source
Yes.
every time I receive it. And the thing is, if I'm curious about it, I will look at the address from which it was sent and I will go to the site through my computer, not through the links, because that's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Thank you for the compliment. What was it? Somber said, I love these two doing streams. So helpful. Cash 8 says, I'm trying to stay out of chats more, but I do watch you guys. Thank you.
That's true.
Rosalind can attest to you that there have been lives where I sat here lost. And having somebody, that's fine, Cash. Chatting is good. And I'll never get over the fact that Charlie has rescued some of what I have failed at. Okay.
You didn't
So
fail.
having two people up here at the same time, bouncing off each other, thoughts and opinions, and sharing ideas is better than one person sitting up here talking about one topic when he doesn't understand both sides of the field. He only understands one side of the field. So when you have the opposing side, or not the opposing, the opposite sex,
Different point of view.
different point of view. And that's what I've always been looking for when I started this channel, is a different point of view. Because what I say might be different and expressed differently than what Rosaline would say, or Big Papa would say, or Charlie would say. So bouncing off each other is what I agree and I like. And I want to thank you again, Charlie.
Very welcome, brother, and no thanks needed. I'm gonna say I've enjoyed our communication. I've enjoyed the streams and helping as many people as we possibly can. Because while we're on this earth, if we can spread a little positivity and a little love, it goes a long way.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And with that, I'm going to jump down. Thank you both so much for.
Yeah, we're
allowing
getting
me
ready to
talk.
end this. Thank you,
Okay.
Rosaline.
Thank you guys, and
Love
I will
to
be
you.
out in the
Take care,
chat.
Rosalie.
Yes.
Huggies, Miss Rosa.
Bye.
She's so pretty.
So pretty, pretty, pretty.
You don't look like a senior citizen, Rosalie.
No, she's too beautiful for her own good, and I hope she heard that before she leaves.
Right.
I'm pretty sure she did. I'm going to kick her down. Did you hear us? No. Okay. So, thank you for coming up, Big Papa.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Yes.
Huggies, Big Papa, and prayers for your aunt.
Thank
Yes. Prayers for your aunt, Big Papa.
you. All right, man. We'll see you later.
All right, bye.
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 Yes, Discord tonight. Everybody join me in Discord after the live. If you're in my Discord, Meet us there in the after show. I will be there if you'd like to join. So,
I'll be there as long as I possibly can.
yes, I know there's a live tonight, poker night, right?
No, not poker nights. Tonight's usually a chill and swill type of night, but I don't know if they're doing that tonight. Usually tonight's a chat and chill.
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, well, the thing is, thanks you for being here. And I
See-
enjoyed your time.
See what happened was, well, the thing is, we love y'all. Y'all have a good one. Happy.
You booked a yearly checkup, you track your sleeping hard. But when your thoughts feel heavy, you call it just a dog. You smile in every photo, but shake when lights go down. You joke so you can hide it, afraid you'll let them down. Let's break the stigma, let the truth shine through. It's okay to check your mind, like your body too. It's okay to be mental, speak up, be seen. Break the silence, snap the chains, we can all be free. Let's break the stigma, say you're not okay. Reaching out is brave, that's how healing finds its way. It's okay to be mental, speak up, be seen. Break the silence, snap the chains, we can all be free. You scrolling through the stories, someone says they're not alright. You feel that same old pressure to always say I'm fine, but shaking hands on Sunday and crying in your car don't make you weak or broken, they show how strong you are. Let's break the stigma, let the truth shine through. It's okay to check your mind, like your body too. It's okay to be mental, speak up, be seen. Break the silence, snap the chains, we can all be free. Let's break the stigma, say you're not okay. Reaching out is brave, that's how healing finds its way. It's okay to be mental, speak up, be seen. Break the silence, snap the chains, we can all be free.